Let us now give a round of applause for our first speaker. He is Mr. Mark N. Lataza, MA, CSASS, Board Member of USAP, the Director for Student Affairs and Services in Pamantasan Lungsod ng Pasig. Our next speaker had reached a plateau. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts major in Philosophy at the University of San Jose, Recoletos, Cebu City, and a graduate of Master of Arts major in Philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas. He was also the former Dean and Area Chair of the College of Arts and Sciences, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Pasig, and at present, he is the Director of Student Affairs and Services and Assistant Professor 3 at the said college. Our speaker is also a member of the board of the University Scholars Association of the Philippines, USAP, and an active member of the Philippine Association of Practitioners and Student Affairs and Services, PAPSAS Incorporated. He is a certified Student Affairs and Services Specialist at CHED, PAPSAS, and UST Student Affairs and Services Continuing Development Program. He presented numerous papers, and one of which is Synergizing Life and Education through El Pasigueño, the PLP Virtual Campus Program, an assessment in the PAPSAS or Philippine Association of Practitioners of Student Affairs and Services Incorporated Research Conference 2021. A producer and host is spilling the tea at the Education Channel or TEC at present, and also a co-host of El Pueblo Publico at DWIZ 882 AM station. A gold medalist of Dugong Alay, Dugtong Buhay, and a member of Lions Club International. And this session, he will reveal to us the Parliamentary Procedure and Business Meeting. Please help me welcome Mr. Mark Anthony Neil Lataza. Let's give him a virtual clap, everyone.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Maayong buntag sa mga Bisaya.
Wow, Bisaya!
Yeah, I'm
sir.
half Cebuano. Yeah, because I graduated in Recoletos, Cebu. And also, maayong aga sa mga Ilonggo dira sa Visayas, no? And of course, naimbag na bigat sa inyo amin sa mga Ilocano naman siguro. So, this morning, we discussed the Robert rules already. So, welcome to my presentation, no? So, I will promise that I will make this presentation short because this subject is common. Actually, the Robert rules is common. We use this already, but someone or most of us didn't know. So, who is Henry Martin Robert? Okay, so he is a major officer in U.S. Navy who was routinely moved around a lot. So he had unusual hobby following local politics. So parang politician na talaga siya, no, nung ever since 1800s pa. And he wrote down the set of rules during the winter of 1876 after presiding over a church meeting and discovering that delegate from different areas of the country did not agree about proper procedure. So that's who is Henry Martin. And what are the Robert Rules Order? So ano ba talaga ito? Okay. He created the first manual of rules of order designed to help non-government organizations to run their meeting as quiet as fairly as possible. So we all know every time na may meeting tayo, okay, we always consider that the meeting must go smoothly, the meeting must be in in order. So this is also the objective of Robert. Okay, the meeting must go smoothly. So, but bakit naging Robert Rules Order? Actually, nung pinublish na itong book, manually niyang pinublish ang book, nagkaroon ng technical error. And what is the technical error? Ang machine niya o yung printer nagprint ng title that the Robert Rules Order instead of the Manual of Rules of Order. So again, by mistake, Robert Rules of Order, supposed to be the title of the book is Manual Rules of Order. But until now, So because of that mistake in printing in 1800s, so it was titled already Robert Rules of Orders. Until now, it was not, it never changed. So the book is now, it's a 12 edition. So there are lots of revised already version. And this is, you can download it. Maybe you can see it in Mr. Google, okay? Or Miss Google, whatever, what his preference, what your preference. So that will, the last edition was 2020. So this very latest. So this is the latest edition of the book. Okay. So can I play a short video just to have an overview of the topic, and then later on we will have detailed on the discussion. So Miss MJ, just remind me if there is no audio sounds of the
Sure.
video.
Sure, sir. Just do not put your microphone on mute so we can hear the sound.
Okay,
Thank you.
sige, I will just play it.
Do you want to chair your next board meeting with confidence? Are you familiar with Robert's Rules of Order? Robert's Rules of Order is a set of rules and guidelines used to facilitate fair and effective meetings for many organizations. While applying a set of rules might seem like more work, using Robert's Rules of Order make meetings efficient so that your board can get more done in less time. This can be very important when you have board members or presenters tying into meetings electronically. These tips and takeaways can help.
Sir Mark, can you possibly volume up? Let's try. Maybe we can still do something on the volume.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The chair will follow through. Hear reports of officers, committees, and staff. Ask for new and old business and provide announcements. In order to conduct business, boards use motions. A motion is used to address a topic or idea to be discussed. Only one motion is to be discussed at a time. However, a board can approve several things at once after discussion. There are steps to use with every motion. First, a board member will raise a motion. Another board member will second a motion. The chair will then restate the motion and ask for discussion. After the board discusses the motion and the issue, after there's dialogue within the board on the item, the chair will ask for a vote on the motion, and then the chair will announce the results of the vote. There are tips and rules to remember on Robert's Rules of Order. Atkins & Company has developed a Robert's Rules of Order reference document that is available to guide you through your next board meeting with confidence. Contact us by email or by phone.
Okay, so just a sort of overview, of our discussion this morning. You can watch a lot of this actually in the YouTube if you want. There are lots of YouTube blogger or YouTube professor discussing the Robert rules, but they make it a series or like module, so that because it is a whole book. Okay, if we will discuss the whole book this morning, we will not finish the whole day, because this is a discussion sometimes in the parliamentary. Okay, so I don't know why I'm given this task, but maybe siguro I'm familiar with the topic, and I used to use these rules in our engagement in terms of meetings, in terms of organizations, and creating the bylaws of the organization. So let's discuss the language of Robert rules. Okay, the language is very important because this language is we use every day. This is the technical term that used in Robert rules. So one of these term is the motion or main motion. So I think that you are familiar with this already. Okay, the language of Robert rules, but just to walk you through. So what is this motion or main motion? A formal proposal for an action to be taken by the group, or in simply, this is question. Okay, later we will have the further discussion. And the second one is presiding officer or the meeting leader. So the leader must maintain the respect of the members. So referred to many different titles. So maybe you are the chairman, the chairperson, the president, the speaker, the chair, or Mr. Madam President. So depends how you address the presiding officer. Another one is the term bylaws. Okay, basic written rules or regulation governing an organization can also be referred to as article of incorporation or constitution. So there are different terms on this. So in an organization or student organization, we call this bylaws. Okay, in other organization or other corporation, they call it or we sometimes call it constitution. That's why there is a constitution and bylaws. Okay. And other one is incorporation. Okay, so on and so forth. So then there is another term, the quorum. Okay, what is this quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of members required to transact business legally under the bylaws. So in your bylaws, there must be always there what is the quorum of the organization to conduct a meeting. Later on, we will discuss this one by one. No? Essentially, to be established whether money is being discussed. So that is emphasized there. And the last but not the least, is standing rules. So unwritten or informal written rules specific to organization. There is already a mutual understanding that there is traditionally rules but not written. But sometimes it's problematic if the member is new in the group or the members are new in the group. So now, what is the rules in the governing key matters of meeting and general procedures, including? So we have sometimes here the constitution and bylaws established by the student organization. I hope that all student or members of this USAP, the leaders of the USAP, the moment that you will have your organization, and I hope some of you or most of you maybe have an organization. So please check your constitution and bylaws because that is the most important, the guide for you in your organization. And check also your structure of meeting agenda. Okay, we have also here the motion. Okay, and in good governing, this is governing the meeting of general policy. So there is a motion including making, second, debating, modifying, amending, and motion. Then there is a sufficient majority and simple majority, which the discussion are appropriate to them. Later on, we will discuss this one by one. No? And establishment of a quorum and definition of membership and voting rights of presiding officers and voting procedures. So we will discuss this one by one. So there is the outline of basic parliamentary procedure here. Okay, so you are to the Filipino audience, you are already familiar with the Senate, okay, the House of Representatives. To the other participants from outside the Philippines, this is the House of Representatives, the Congress of the Philippines. This is the room where they have their meetings and discussion and parliamentary procedures. We have also the Senate, okay, and of course, common to us, the student organization. So the Robert rules, the Robert rules is order used in any of these. Okay, this is our guide actually in our daily meetings in our organization. Even in a short or even in a classroom meeting, we can use this one, the simpler version of the Robert rules. So The rules of governing an organization. So sometimes these Robert rules orders used in state and federal law, okay, governing corporation, tax exempt organization, public legislative bodies. That's like I mentioned in the picture from the Senate, Congress, and so forth. Article of incorporation applicable to corporation. Okay, governing documents, parents organization. So you can use this also in local constitution and bylaws. That's in our organization. Okay. Now let's proceed to the rules of governing. Another rules governing an organization is standing rules. Yan, operating procedure consistent with all of the above, and the rules of order, parliamentary authority superseded by any above of the conflict. Okay, so this is the governing rules. Now let's proceed to the main, the other topics that I mentioned. So what is the purpose of this parliamentary procedure? So this is very important. I mentioned a while ago that this is very important because this is to ensure majority rule. So how can you identify the majority rule in a meeting? You can identify the majority rule if everyone is present, okay? Or what else? 50 plus 1, if that will be considered, okay? So meaning if not everyone is not around, so you can use the 50 plus 1, okay? So protect the rights of the minority and absentees and individual members. So even though you are absent, you abstain, you will be protected even you are the minority of the group. And provide order, fairness, and decorum. So in every meeting, in every parliamentary procedure, in every, maybe you can use this in debate, okay? But this is more on the parliamentary or the organization. So there is a fairness, okay? There is a decorum, there is an order in short. And facilitate the transaction of business and expedite meetings. So you can go directly to the point, you can have the approval of everybody in order and in less time, okay? So let's proceed to the basic principle of parliamentary procedure, okay? So all members have equal right, privilege, and obligation. So, and every meeting, everyone, well, you have your equal rights, okay? You can vote, you can suggest, you can make your motions, but that must be, there is an obligation. What is your obligation? If you are the chair, you will preside the meeting. If you are the secretary, you will take down all the notes of the meeting. If you have motion, you must be put the motion in right time and in order. So a quorum must be presented for the group to act. If the bylaws of the organization do not establish a quorum, the general rule is that the majority of the entire membership must be present in order to transact business. So full and free discussion of every motion is a basic right. So in a quorum, I mentioned already that in an organization, if you have 10 members in an organization, in a meeting, there must be a quorum, okay? At least 6, okay? 50 plus 1. Or if you have the rules, 2/3 of the members must be present in the organization, all of the majority present in the organization, okay, in that meeting. So if you have only 1 or 2, the president or the chairman and the secretary only present in that meeting, and another member, and you are 10, so you are only 3 in the meeting, but you are out of 10, so that will be not quorum, okay? So the meeting will not proceed. So only one question at a time may be considered, and only one person maybe have the floor at any one time. So this is not a marketplace. No, the organization is not a marketplace that everyone will talk. Just like here, okay, a basic example in our seminar today. So I talk, you listen, and then later on you have a question, I will answer the question, and then the host will talk. So there is always a what we call the free discussion, but at the same time there is a right, equal rights and privileges, but there is an obligation, okay, to respect also who is not, who is talking. Why? Because if everyone will talk, okay, the 463 participants will talk, then therefore we will not come up a good discussion. Okay, so that's a basic example. So members have the right to know. Okay, members, sorry. Members have the right to know the pending question is and to have restated before the vote was taken. So there are time that there is image pending discussion, okay, before the meeting. So you have the right to reconsider it or to talk about it or to question it. And then later on, you will have the rights to make a vote if the chair will allow it, okay, based on the procedure of the proceedings. No person can speak until recognized by the chair. So that is very clear here, and I mentioned that already. Personal remarks are always out of order. Okay, so if you have personal remarks, or like for example in a meeting, you always have this side talk or personal comment. So please avoid that one because that will not help the organization to decide. Okay, so your remarks must be direct. You will raise your hand maybe, or you will ask the chair to please entertain your remarks, but not your personal or outside the discussion remarks. Okay, to avoid the distraction, to avoid the confusion and conflict with the organization. So a majority decides a question except when the basic rights of members are involved. So if you are not part of the organization, so you don't have the right. Meaning, if you are not part of that meeting, you don't have the right. Okay, and this time, the majority decides, okay, a question. So if the question is not decided by the majority, so sometimes this is more in the parliamentary procedure, no? But in an organization, we sometimes act smoothly, okay, based on the basic rules that we know, okay? But this is one is somehow, some of these are more on parliamentary, okay, in Senate, in Congress, and so on. So the 2/3 vote required for any motion that this deprives a member of rights in any way, okay? So if there is always a vote, okay, if you vote, there is always the 2/3 of the decision or 50+1. Silent gives consent. So, okay, those who do not vote allow the decision to be made by those who do vote. So please take note of these leaders. If you are in the board of meeting, board of regents meeting, and you are the student representative of the board, so silence gives consent. Why? Because you did not say no. Okay, you didn't say that I'm not agree with that. So either your silent says yes. Okay, silence means yes. Because for example, in a board meeting, there's an instance, no, and I experienced this one. There is a student that didn't vote. Okay, the student regent. Okay, so example, if you are the student regent in a board meeting, okay, didn't say something, okay, or you didn't say no, okay, on that, or you didn't oppose, and you just make a silent gesture, okay, in the corner. So maybe your silent means yes. So example, in a BOR meeting or board of regents meeting, and you are the student, there is a particular law, the particular topic that raised on that discussion. Example, tuition fee high, but of course some of the school already no tuition fee, no, because of the scholarship granted by CHED. But before there are discussions like this, that the tuition fee must be somehow added some like 1%, so on and so forth. But you didn't give your consent you didn't say something on this, you didn't react on this, you just make your silent move. So therefore, the board may maybe assume that you approve it. Okay, so please do your make your gesture if you are approve it or you didn't approve it, or you say yes on it or no on it if you don't, if you want to say no. Okay, why? Because after that, if the board will decide already that is already majority like approved, you cannot do something about it anymore. Okay, and the problem sometimes, because you don't like it and you didn't talk, you didn't say no, so what will be the issue there? You didn't support your argument or your stand. Okay, and then later on you will just present it to the students that the board approved the 1% increase of tuition fee, and everyone's react, and then you will put the blame on the board. No, I cannot do something on that because the board approved that already. But actually you can. You have the voice of the students or the student body. You can react if you don't like it, as long as it is proper in discussion. Okay, not in your personal vendetta or personal problem that no, I don't like any suggestions. Okay, so please look the total picture. If you don't like it, say something about it. So don't let it go in a silent way, so that you will not suffer the next decision that you have. But of course, put it in a proper, if you say something, put it in a proper forum or proper words. Choose a word that is appropriate to the discussion. So don't use a word that is very technical to the team, that it will embarrass them or make them feel angry. So be a professional, in short. So the chair should always remain impartial. So if you are the chair, example, you decide a meeting, so be impartial. Don't put your personal opinion or personal advocacy, but be impartial. Okay. So types of order of business. So maybe this is common to you, no? Okay, call of order, opening exercise if applicable, roll call, okay, determination of quorum, adoption of the agenda. So there is always a call of order, okay, in the first one. Then reading the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. So please make sure that every meeting you read the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, because if there is pending for approval, so that will be the one of the agenda that you will discuss, or totally it will be trash or disapproved. Okay, reports of the officer. So example, the officer in charge of this, so what is your report? So please just give you a clue, no, or an example or a hint. Every time you attend the meeting, please prepare your report. Okay, as much possible. Before we have face-to-face meeting, so we used to print materials. Okay, please make sure that you share that materials to others. If you cannot present it through PowerPoint, you can make it photocopy. Okay, officers. So if you have report, example, the most important report usually is how much is the money left in our savings in our account. So the treasurer, okay, or who is in charge of that, the officer must always make a report, okay, so that the body or the officers or the organization knows, okay, what are the expenses and so on and so forth. So report of standing committees, and then also the report of special ad hoc committee if there is, okay. And special orders, unfinished business and general orders. And then after the unfinished business, there may be a new business or new motion or new question. Okay, there is a program if applicable, announcements, good of the order, adjournment. So these typical orders of Robert Rules order is the long typical order of business. But we can shorten this. It depends upon your organization. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, here you can have this type of procedure. So just like the slides before this, okay, we have the presiding's officer script, call to order, approve of the correction of minutes, report of the officers, reporting standing committees, so on and so forth. So you can make it short, or you can have sometimes in the meeting, the shorter version is there is a call to order. So the laydown of the approval minutes of the previous minutes. Then we have also the report. Sometimes the report of the officer, if there is none, so you can omit that one. But if there is always the report of the officer, so do it. Okay, and then we have here, yeah, the new agenda, and then if you have the announcement and you have, and then adjourn. Now let's go to the rule of the presiding officer. So we know that the presiding officer of the chair may do anything he likes or she likes, but there is a big but always there. But, okay, what is that but? You need to respect the organization also, the member of the organization, the motions of the organization, the rules of the organization, especially the decision of the organization. Okay, so you have the chair, or you are the chair, but okay, respect also your members or your co-officers decision. Okay, that's why you have a quorum, you have a vote. Okay, so remain impartial during the debate. The proceeding officers must relinquish the chair in order to debate the merits of the motion, not the personal, okay, your personal argument. Okay, vote only to create a break or a tie requiring the 2/3. So if there is a tie in the vote, okay, for example, in voting later on, who let's vote for the, what is the best example here? Okay, let's pass the motion. Or there is a motion for in the meeting. No, there is a motion that we will have a representative each level of the organization. For example, in your bylaws, you need to make a decision if the members of the organization must be all 4th years, 2nd year, 3rd year, or you will add an officer from 1st year. Okay, a representation of each organization or each program. Example, you are talking about the student council here, okay, in general. So that every program will be represented. So you vote, or the motion will be, there will be additional, okay, additional organization or representative from each program in your school. So the officers vote. If there is a tiebreaker, so you need to make you can maybe use it a ballot. Okay, or you can, in voting, you can raise a hand. Okay, those who agree, raise your right hand, and those who don't agree, raise your left hand. Okay, so that it will be shown that you are raising your hand, so you are agree, and left, you are not agree. And of course, if there is a 2/3 of vote, then it will be approved. But if there is, like for example, everyone, or out of 10, 6 didn't approve it, then that will be not approved in the session or in that meeting. Determine the quorum is present before transacting business. So it's very important, no? Before you start the business, if you are, I mentioned this a while ago, if you are 10 members of the organization or the officers, so the quorum will be at least 2/3, or the usual is 50 plus 1. 6. Okay. Introduce business in the proper order. Okay, I already mentioned that one. And if you are the chair, you are talking about if you are the chair here. And recognize speakers. Okay. So we have here, maybe you recognize your co-officers. We have here the Secretary of the House. We have here the officer from the College of blah, blah, and blah. Okay. So you need to recognize also because as a chair, okay, you need to respect everyone. You need to provide assembled group consent. You need to provide to have respect of the group. Provide that there is no motion, appeal, the discussion of the chair also refer to challenge of the chair. Okay, so the chair must be seen to be fair and impartial. The chair operates the leisure of the group, not your personal leisure. And the chair must hold the respect of the floor or the members. So that is very important here. Yeah, determining the motion in order, keep discussion germane in the pending motion, maintain order rather, put motion to vote and announce results. So those who in favor of this motion, 6, and those who are not in favor on this motion, 4. Okay, so the result is clear. Okay, employ anonymous consent, general consent when appropriate. Okay. So what is the general proceeding in handling motion? Okay, the moment that there is a motion, I have a question, sir. I have so on and so forth. So the job of the chair is to call for order of the meeting set out in the notice of the meeting. So before the motion, and then to announce the agenda items and put the group into put before the group at the meeting, to recognize members who wish to speak to the group, to state, put to vote all the questions motion that come before the group. And another more duties of the chair is to protect the group from obviously frivolous and dilatory motions, okay, that refusing to recognize them, to enforce the rules relating to debate and expedite business in orderly, so that it will be shortened and direct to the point and so on and so forth. Now, the moment that there is a motion, the member normally motion in short question, okay, must obtain the floor by being recognized by the chair. So yes, example, Juan, okay, you have your motion. So recognize the person who have the member who have makes a motion. A motion must normally be seconded by another member before it can be considered. So example, my motion or my question or my proposal here is to, to example, to in an organization, we will not accept, okay, members. Okay, example, we will not accept members in other colleges. So if that will be your motion and no one seconded on it, then therefore there will be an open motion until the chair will decide, okay, who will approve, who will agree on that. So if there is no second motion on that, so there will be a voting because the group must decide for that. But if the group, okay, I move, example, you already discussed everything in that motion, okay, like for example, the admission process, okay, this is more on the admission office now, but in the student organization, if you approve that, we will make example, Bayanihan Act, or we will have to help the student in need. So we will have the budget, the fundraising, so on and so forth. And then it already approved, and then someone must say, okay, I second the motion. Okay, so that the motion will be closed already and you can move to another motion. Because if you're not seconded, then therefore the motion is still hanging. Okay, so kaya you are familiar with this now. Second the motion. So meaning the motion is already approved and it's already seconded. Before the motion is restated, by the chair, the members can rise without waiting to be recognized and suggest the modification of the wording to clarify the motion. So the maker of the motion can choose to accept or reject the modified wordings. Okay, it's very clear naman. And if the motion is in order to chair to restate the motion, so it's up to the motion or if it is debatable or not. So it depends upon the motion if it is debatable or not. If it is very clear, so you can have the second motion, but if it is not clear, so you can have the discussion on it. I mentioned already. So the maker of the motion has the right to speak first in the debate. So I propose that we will have a budget fundraising for our fellow students who are now suffering due to this enhanced community quarantine, especially here in Metro Manila. So we are now in enhanced community quarantine. So what will you do with your schoolmates? So you will have your fundraising, so on so forth projects. So make sure that the organization approve it before doing the activity. So you have the discussion, okay, we will do this, we will do that. Okay, and then after the discussion, you will have the votes. So the chair restates the motion, if necessary, clarifies the consequences, affirmative or negative votes. I already mentioned that. The chair calls for the vote. If you're approving, if you would like to raise your hand if you agree on it, and then left hand if you will not agree on it. Okay, so the chair announces the results, so on and so forth. Okay, so don't worry. I think I'm already now in the debate. Okay, the main point of the debate is to discuss the matter or the motion. Please don't insert any motions on the debate, which is another topic. Okay, so if you talk about this helping your fellow student, the organization must help our fellow student because due to this enhanced community quarantine. So the topic, the debate must be in that context. Don't put another context or another motion that it will, confuse the whole organization. So one motion at a time. So if there is a debate means there is an argument, okay? You will share your ideas, the other will share ideas, the other one will understand the ideas. So that the members of the group will understand what is the objective, what is the purpose, so on and so forth. Okay? And no members can speak more than 10 times. This is the general rule, no? But sometimes in our meeting, one member or one officer talks more than 10 times actually. Talks, he or she talks all the time. So please consider also the members of the group. Okay, you are not the only person in the organization or in that meeting. So that the chair must regulate that one. Okay, so you can call your name Juan de la Cruz, Ana de la Cruz, okay, Pedro, so on and so forth. So please, because sometimes in the meeting, we observe that one person talks a lot. Okay, it seems that he is the only person in the meeting. So please avoid that one so that there will be no confusion or there will be no problem. So it is not all remarks must be addressed to the chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to propose. So this is the formal now. This is the formal discussion, especially in the parliamentary. So you can watch that when the Senate debates, the senators debates, the congressmen make their own debates, and of course you observe this also to your main organization. So please bear with me. We're already at the end of the discussion. So again, maybe I already expedite the explanation and the debate now. Just always remember, respect each other. Don't put any discussion which is not out of order, like making gestures that you are already angry with the person. So there is no personal personal vendetta in the debate now. You can debate because debate must be healthy debate. You disagree, but you present your facts, your point, not your personal crisis, personal problem, you're angry. You put that in the debate, so will not be healthy. So always remember, put only the facts, even you disagree. Okay? I disagree on that, but don't put your feelings that I disagree because I don't have money today, I didn't eat my breakfast, so on and so forth. So don't put your personal problem on the debate. You can disagree or agree, but in facts, you have the proof, you have your all the documents that everybody will understand you, not your personal problem. So please take note of that, because there are sometimes debate that it turns out not a debate, but a quarrel zone, a war zone because of personal problem. You know, sometimes you lend me a money, but you didn't pay me until now. So that is not part of the debate. No, that is part of your personal problem. Okay, so on and so forth. So there are lots of example, but I will not mention that already. So motion in ascending order. So I already mentioned one of these an example. No, only one motion, maybe in the floor at a time. So if the discussion is about organization problem, if the discussion is about so on at a time, let the motion approve first before the other motion or the second another question. Okay, not all the motion. Example, there are 10 motions and we'll put it together, and I think there will be no quorum, or there will be no uh, agreement at the end. So that is the main motion. I will not maybe I already emphasized that one. Okay, so this is a types of motion na lang, no? There's the main motion and the subsidiary motion. So in the subsidiary motion, there is a postponed indefinite. Example, there is no approval on that, so we will discuss that next time, so on and so forth. Okay, and we have also the amend. Okay, please check your bylaws, constitution and bylaws, if there's something to amend, especially during this online or virtual meetings that we have. Okay, because we are not prepared to amend before that. During the online, there must be at least, well, the quorum is to always be like 10. If there is the quorum is 50 plus 1, that's a standard. But the amendment, for example, you have this activity, but example, I will make an example. Before the pandemic, we have the policy that the officers must stay in his or her position at least 1 year only. Okay, but because of due to pandemic, okay, there was no election. Example, in our school, there was no election in student council because the election was supposed to be happen during March, but due to ECQ last year, so the election was postponed. So, and everyone was not prepared. Online voting, we don't have the facilities on online voting, so on and so forth. So therefore, okay, it needs to amend, and then the board itself, the board of regent itself, amend it. Okay, because the student regent is there. But before that proposal, the student council must have their own proposal also in their own organization or the school. So I propose to the bylaws of the student council to postpone your election next year because it is already ECQ and we don't have transaction for 3 months last year. So if the board approved that, okay, that's the higher authority because it is now not in the hand of the student affairs or the organization, because in our policy, the board only allow the president of the student council will sit on the board if he or she is elected. So if the officer, if the president of the student council is not elected, appointed only, so the board will not allow him or her. So therefore, we need to amend, okay, for the ECQ purposes only, we need to amend the policy so that the board will understand that there is no new president due to pandemic. Okay, the existing president is still the president. Okay, that already reappointed to the position due to the pandemic. If the board approves it, then they can allow the student regent to sit on the board. And there are times that the president leave the school because of maybe go to other school. So the position is vacant, and the policy of the student council is to reappoint the vice president as the president. You can reappoint that one based on your constitution and bylaws, but based on the board of regent policy, only those who are elected in the position will be part of the board of regents. So you cannot argue with that. So you need to have their approval before you can sit on the board of regents. That is in the local university, especially in our school. But we have different patterns, policies in our school. In NUC, LUCs, or LUCs, or the local university and colleges, we have the different policy. In the SUCs or SUCs and the state universities and colleges, we have your own policy also. So we are not the same. You cannot compare us. You cannot compare your policy to us. But that is only an example. And in a private school, you have also your policies. Okay, so on and so forth. So please make sure that there is an amendment and approved by the body. Okay, motion to substitute. There are sometimes this is technical already and not part of the organization, but you can use this also. Second amendment. Okay, we have refer or commit, postpone definite or postpone a certain time. So if there are motion that are not discussed or was not discussed, so you can postpone it to the next meeting. For example, one example here, there is a meeting, okay? And the topic is promotion, okay? Promotion, this is a example ito. This is an example. The promotion. So the one officer mentioned that, okay, the promotion of the faculty or the non-teaching personnel will be postponed until the presiding officer will decide, or until the chairperson is around. Okay, so you can postpone that one until next meeting. There will be a discussion. You can reopen it if you are the one who will propose it. Okay, and then we have limit to extend debate, and then previous questions lay on the table. So these are the terms or the motions that you can use. You can visit Robert Rules, no, if you want, for the very detailed description, or you can watch. You can learn in YouTube if you want. If you don't have the book, because the book is very thick, you can watch it in YouTube if you want to have some experts explaining this one. Though there is a privilege on the motion, so call for the orders of the day. Okay. Yeah, for the interest of time now, because I already waste some times in preparing this Zoom presentation. So raise a question or privilege, recess. Okay, this is my favorite part, recess. Why? Because you need to have sometimes recess if the motion or the argument is very hot on the table. Okay, like for example, everyone is already shouting in their loud voice because they want to they want to hear their side, so on and so forth, so the chair can have the recess. Okay, even in courts, even in the meeting in the Senate or in the Congress, you have recess. Recess means you have a 5-minute break to have a CR break, or if you have food. Means sometimes if we talk about recess, we always connotes food. Recess. This is my favorite time when I'm still in elementary. It's recess time. Okay, so I will just get my food, and after that I will just realize that I don't have anything. So anyway, just kidding aside, recess is one. Held in the recess. You need a recess if there is need a CR break, so on and so forth. Then after that, you need to adjourn the meeting or the motion if it is already approved or seconded, and then fix the time. Set the time. Okay, if there is another meeting, if that is already adjourned. Example, okay, the meeting is adjourned, so we will have our next meeting on Monday. Okay, so you have the schedule already. And there is another one is incidental motion, the point of order, the appeal. Okay, so I already sometimes make the example of this. suspend the rules. So this is sometimes there are times that when the motion, okay, there are the motions that, Chair, can you suspend the rules for a while so that we can have make a consideration out of this? So it depends upon the motion. No, if the motion is it's for consideration. So used to make parliamentary rule, special rule, or organization temporary inoperative. The motion cannot be appealed to the Constitution and bylaws unless those documents include specific previous for suspension. Normally requires 2/3 votes. So, and then withdraw. I remove the deliberation after the motion. So you withdraw your motion. Points of information. I will just run down my slides now so that we will end as much possible. Actually, my time is until 9:45, but I waste I don't know how many minutes before I start. So I will just make sure that I will end by 10. Okay. 5 minutes more, guys. Sorry. So division of questions. Okay. So you need to divide the motions containing 2 or more provisions that can stand alone so that each provision can be considered and voted upon separately. Okay. Not debatable. And division of the assembly. Use the demand a raising vote to verify the vote counts. Okay. So in voting, yeah, we will proceed the last one. Oh, this is not the last one yet. Take from the table, resume, consider the motion. So I'm again and again, the motion must be in the proper quorum. Okay, in the proper meaning resumes consideration of motions laid on the table earlier, the same session on the previous session. So if you have motions, you can in the Congress, if they have motions, they already give the copies, okay, to other congressmen. In our organization, sometimes we lay down our motions right there and then. So if you have motions and if you want that motion, okay, let me tell you this one. This is in politics now. If you want that motion approved, okay, so talk to your co-officers. This is my motion later on. So let them read your motions so that they have the idea beforehand. So that the moment that you will have the motion or the discussion, they know already your motions and they know already if they want to approve that or not. Okay, so there are lots of this in the Senate, in the sessions of the Sangguniang, if you are Sangguniang Kabataan, I think you have this one, and in the organization itself. Okay, and this one, rescind or repeal or amend the previous adopted resolution. Okay. Yes. This is the last one, the voting. I mentioned this already, so just to clarify that one, there is a majority vote. Okay, this is a 2/3 vote, and there is a voting by the chair. Okay, the majority vote, well, everyone agrees on that. Okay, no questions asked. The 2/3, okay, 6 or in absent of 2/3, so 50 plus 1. And voting by the chair, except when there is a ballot vote, the chair only votes when his vote would affect the result. So there are different different voting, raising hand, okay, ballot voting, or verbal, okay, maybe. Both voice, ayan. Method of normal use, I agree, disagree, okay. Show hands of raising vote, ayan. Ballot, roll call, okay. Juan de la Cruz, okay. Ana, what's your vote? So on and so forth. So it depends upon the meeting if that is necessary. Sometimes ballot is used only for voting if the motion is very sensitive, so on and so forth. If the officers don't want their votes known to others also. Okay. If they don't want to reveal their votes. And proxy voting prohibited unless special provided by the charter or bylaws. Example, Juan de la Cruz is absent, so Ana is proxy Juan de la Cruz in voting. So unless there is provision in bylaws that you allow that one. So yes, okay. So this is my favorite part always of the slide, no? The second to the last slide. So recommended books. I know that I didn't discuss everything, no, because if I will discuss one by one, we will not end up in 1 hour. Okay, so there are different version already, 2020, 2024, 2000 rather, 2004, 2000, yeah, and 2020, the latest one. And you can also have the website, okay? www.robertrules.com, yeah, and so on and so forth. So before I end, this is my favorite quote now. Before I end, okay, think what is right, but do what is just. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and God bless and more power to USAP and to all of you student leaders. Okay, you are the hope of our country or the countrymen.
Yeah,
So thank you very
that's
much.
right.
And I'm Mark Latasa. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much, Mr. Lataza, for the very informative six-cyclig, right? It's overflowing with information, and as what our dear speaker mentioned earlier, if he will discuss the entire Robert's rule, it might take like forever for us to stay here. So thank you so